Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. Understanding which career would you want to opt for often becomes a difficult decision. खास करके अगर यही ना पता हो कि different career streams में होता क्या क्या है. Which is why we have Esha Lalwani with us today, who was an economics honors graduate from Delhi University. Then she did her postgraduate program in management from Vedika Scholars, after which all her careers have been into the field of marketing. So she joined the brand and marketing team at Deloitte India first. Then she moved on to the marketing manager role at Geo Savants, and currently she is moving to a tech marketing gig, which is why she is here to help us understand what marketing is all about. Welcome, Isha, to the channel.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here. I'm really excited to do this.
Thank you. The pleasure is mine because, as I mentioned when we started this call, there have been a lot of guests on the channel, but nobody has yet been able to explain what marketing is all about. So, your inputs would surely be of a lot of value to the viewers. I would also like to mention that this arrangement has been made by Vedika Scholars, who are also sponsoring this video. Vedika Scholars is where Isha started from, and it's an MBA alternative program that you can pursue if you're a woman candidate. And if you want more details about it, I'll link a dedicated video that has been made on Vedika Scholars in the description box. Their fourth round of application, which might actually be the last round of application as well, will end on 5th of June. So in case you are either a graduate or you're about to graduate, you can surely apply for the same. I'll also link their application page in the description box. Let's start with the interview now, Isha. I would first of all like to understand about your MBA journey. If you could walk the viewers through basically how did you decide on doing an MBA, because you were also a fresher. So how did this whole journey begin?
Yeah, that's right. So how Vedika happened to me, and just any program happened to me. I mean, just context is that in India, it's very normal to do an MBA or just any postgrad program right after college, right? And at that time, when I was deciding between just what to do in my life, I knew that there were some things that interested me, but then there were I was very sure of the things that didn't interest me at all, right? Like I had a job at one of the a company that's now a unicorn, but the role didn't interest me that much. I was also writing exams for postgrad in economics, and but yeah, like while prepping for it, I realized that this is not something that I actually want to do. But funnily, how Vedika happened to me was that I was actually going to write one of these exams for economics, and I actually ran into someone in the metro, this woman who told me that, hey, you know what, like I'm applying for this program, it seems great, it's new. To be honest, it was a gamble. They took a gamble on me, I took a gamble on them, right? So she told me that, hey, there's this program, it seems interesting, you should look it up. And I think it was destiny or something that to meet someone in the metro and get like run into a conversation about this. But I went back home, I looked up the website, I was fairly impressed because the courses just seemed like things that I would actually want to study. I applied, but it wasn't until my conversation with Anuradha, actually. Anuradha, just for context, is the founding dean of Vedika, right? It was not until my conversation with her in the interview that I decided that, hey, I want to do this, right?
So, as a follow up question, because a lot of people who will be watching this video will be like, okay, Vedika is one option. Then there'll be so many other programs. Then there are exams like CAT, SAT, which help you get into various other colleges. So, how does one end up making this choice of joining a certain program? If you could walk us through that decision of yours.
Yeah, sure. So like my decision making matrix back, like what, 6 years ago, when I probably decided to join Vedika, was a little bit different than how I would advise people to join Vedika or any other program right now, right? So for me, my goal was the fact that I wanted to discover what I like, and Vedika did a good job at that, right? Like it really helped to, like for context, Vedika has 4 different sort of tracks under it. So there's management, liberal arts, personal growth, and communication, right? So what that really means is that you are studying a lot of different things, and naturally you would understand which one you like more, which one you don't like as much. And I found that I was really interested in marketing back then, so I went ahead with that. But now when I have to like just tell someone how to decide whether any B school is the B school for you, especially in India, like the criteria changes a little bit when you look at these schools abroad, but I'm restricting this conversation to India. So there are 3 parameters largely. The first one would be, and I'll be completely like blatant and honest about it, which is career outcomes. You have to understand that educational businesses are also businesses by the end of it, and you are paying them for a certain value or service that they are giving you. So it's important for you to understand what you're getting out of this, right? And by that I mean, like, just look at some of the alumni, look at what the alumni is doing. Is that something that you see yourself doing? The second is network, right? Like, by network I don't just mean people that are in your class, but also just the professors, the people who come in to take sessions and things like that, right? Like, these are the people that you are essentially adding to your pool of relationships, right? Again, difficult to judge, but I did go through, for example, the website to see just the kind of people that would be coming to teach on the program. And I was excited by it because I thought it'll be interesting, because Vedika actually had a bit of both. We had professors to come in to teach, which is obviously great, but we also had people who are actually doing the job, just industry professionals to come and teach us, right? So I love that. Third aspect of it is obviously learning, like, which is what you generally go to a program for. But when I say learning, I mean learning inside and outside the classroom, right? Like, it's also learning opportunities in terms of just internships, and just like, where are you interning? Or in Vedika, it's this it's this small module called the Shadow CEO program, Shadow Women CEO program. But yeah, largely just about, like, where are you interning, where are you spending your time, because you do need that particular college to open up some of those doors for you.
Very well put. I feel like definitely someone must consider them before making a choice of joining any institute. Isha, I would now like to start the second part of this interview, because of which a lot of people might have actually tuned into this video, which is regarding your marketing career. So you've had multiple gigs in marketing, and a lot of people watching this might not even be aware of what marketing management entails. So if you could just broadly walk us through what a day in your life looks like as a marketing manager, that would be really helpful.
Awesome, sure. Marketing is something that I love talking about, because it's actually a fun profession. At least for me, I actually quite like it. And it's also one of the professions which is most highly misunderstood. Like, when I tell my friends who are obviously not marketers, when I tell them just the different projects I'm working on, they're like, oh, acha, ye bhi you do, you do this also. Because, like, we're also consumers to marketing, right? Like, we see a lot of ads and just social handles, and we may think that that's all there is to marketing, but actually those are just one of the channels that a brand is using to communicate with the consumers. But yeah, to just zoom out a little bit, marketing in a nutshell is essentially just the fact that you have a brand which is selling a product or a service, and you have to make sure that that brand reaches its consumer. To give someone like an overview of just what all you can look forward to in marketing, like, it's actually a lot of different types of companies that come together. There's one in which you're representing a brand. So, like, for me, I started my career representing Deloitte. Then there's the agency side, right? Which is typically like there could be an agency for anything. Like, there are creative agencies that are pretty common. Then there are media agencies that are also pretty common. And then there are also other kinds of agencies, like, for example, influencer marketing agencies. So what that essentially means is that someone on the brand side possibly cannot have all the skills that they need to be able to take a marketing campaign live. You need design, you need creative thinking, you need writing, you need analytics, you need so much, right? So typically marketing managers like myself, and I'm in a pretty generalist role, right? And I've chosen to be in generalist roles just so that I could learn the breadth of things. But typically marketing managers like myself work with a lot of different agencies to be able to outsource the specialized work that's there.
So how about we talk in terms of the skills that a person can probably equip themselves with at the moment, so that when they become a marketing manager, they're well placed. So is there anything you could recommend in terms of the skills a marketing manager should have?
To be honest, I feel like I've learned most of my skills on the job. In terms of pure play skills, I would say maybe just having an eye for design or writing. Because both of those things are very, very much essential in terms of just bringing the final output back to your end customer. Second would be just ability to work with data. Then how you learn these things is actually the third, which is the most important skill, which Actually, my manager told me, right? She's like, listen, Isha, just always try to connect the dots. With marketing, any kind of marketing is largely driven by business objectives only. Like, if a brand is planning to do, maybe planning to, launch a new product, then, they would come to the marketing team to say that, hey, launch this product for me, right? And get more people to use the product, right? So it's important to always connect the dots. It's important to see the value that you're bringing, because you can always like actually add more value to your work if you're connecting it to the business goals on a daily basis, right? Like, in fact, most of marketing, I would say, is actually a lot of talking and a lot of listening. When I say talking, I mean that, like I mentioned, that you have to work with a lot of different agencies, people, specialists, right? Which means that your project management skills have to be super high. Like, you're all constantly working with people, and these are people that are not typically reporting to you or anything like that, right? Like, these are people you have to work with. Have an interest for things, try to understand what's happening, be curious about it, and if you're interested in it, I don't see a reason why you can't learn marketing on the job as well.
And because you said there is no prerequisite as such for the marketing job, I am also assuming that if someone is coming from a different background, let's say operations or finance, they've had probably 1 or 2 years into that field, can they still switch to marketing post their MBA?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, again, I don't see a reason why. And I can give you an example for this, right? Like, for example, when I started doing marketing, I never thought that writing would be one of the things that I would be good at, right? Because I remember back in college, I used to adore people who could write well. I just thought it was such a great skill to have, right? But I never thought I could do it. But then I was on the job and the work had to be done. And I did it. And now it's one of my core, sort of skill sets that I think I bring to work, right? Like, in the sense that I know that if somebody comes to me and says that, hey, you know what, just this needs to go out, I more often than not write it just myself, right? So it's something that I also learned on the job, is what I'm saying, and I wasn't good at. So it's just about you being willing to pick it up and learn the ways to pick up a particular skill, ask the right questions, and yeah, you should be fine.
Another question that I have is, because I saw your LinkedIn profile and I saw that you have a couple of internships under your bag from undergrad. So do you think having internships, or like you've also done a shadow mentorship program at Vedika Scholars, do you think such experiences help you in bagging a marketing management position or anything on those lines?
I do think internships help for your learning. I don't know how much they help for bagging a certain position, to be very honest, because a lot of times when you're hiring someone who's a fresher but has done like some kind of internships, you still count the person as a fresher only, right? And honestly, that's how it should be, because you are not expected to know everything when you enter your job, right? Like, you're expected to learn, and that's the expectation for any fresher that comes in. But internships do help in terms of just helping you understand what you like or don't like, right? Like, my internships throughout my undergrad, and I did like an internship probably every summer, none of them were in marketing. Shadow, however, Shadow Women CEO program, which is by Vedika, is actually a program which is very cool in the sense that it's kind of like an internship, but it's not really like an internship. When I say that, I mean that you're actually mapped to a woman CEO from across the board, different industries, all different kick-ass ladies, right? And you get to shadow them. What that essentially means is that you get to sort of be with them as they do life. So yeah, internships, in a nutshell, to answer your question, they're great for learning. On the contrary, I would say that, like, we go for internships for the brand name in college. Don't do it. Actually go for internships where you can just learn and absorb the things around you.
Another question that I have, a popular one at generally thrown at MBA grads, is that life after MBA is super hectic. Though people do claim that in marketing, that's not the case. However, I would love to know your opinion on whether you get any time after MBA to pursue your hobbies or do something that you generally like other than your work.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't think it's hectic in the sense that your job being hectic is actually a function of where you work in terms of your company, and also the culture set by your company and the culture set by your team, right? So both my experiences have been slightly different, but I don't think it's hectic to a point that you can't pursue your hobbies, right? And honestly, remote work has a lot to do with it. I've been working, remotely from my house for the past 2 years because of the pandemic, and now I go into office uh, 2-3 times a week. So obviously, it gives me some of that time back, and I realize that I have so many more hours in a day where I can just do so much more, and I do spend that time, sometimes relaxing or just upskilling in general, right?
Hmm.
But yeah, I don't think that it's hectic, and it's important for you to when you're applying for a job, understand the company culture. Work life balance is something that is important to you. Make sure you pick companies that give you that.
Any concluding tips for the students who want to get into the field of marketing at this moment while they might be preparing for different MBA exams, applying to different MBA programs? What can they do to, increase their chances of making it to this career?
It's, I mean, just tips to make it to marketing as a fresher would just be that, when you go for interviews, just remember that it's okay for you to not know everything, but what you're really bringing to the table is just you as a whole and just your willingness and stuff, right? Like that's what I look for if we're hiring for my team. That just someone should just be interested to like really make it work, right? And excited, like ask a lot of questions, even during my internships, or even when I'm starting a new job, or honestly even right now, like there's a reason why I said there's a lot of talking and listening involved, is also because I ask a lot of questions, because like the onus of your career and your growth is actually just on you.
Thank you so much, Isha, for taking out the time. I believe after this conversation, a lot of the doubts that students generally have regarding marketing will get resolved. And in case those of you who are watching, if you still have some doubts either regarding marketing management as a career or regarding Vedika Scholars as a program, feel free to put them in the comments. We can surely take them up. Thank you so much.